His team sucked. Never thought I would say it. There's a saying in coaching, don't do it. Just don't do it. I'm not sure he dug his own grave. I'm not sure that he didn't. Maybe just now you don't know what you don't know. Let's go back to why. This is one of the reasons why. Do not ever challenge your fan base to fire you. Ever. Bo Pelini did it when he was at Nebraska. And guess what? I think he's now coaching at Youngstown State. Seth Greenberg and I did an epic. Like, game got canceled, something happened. We had to go on a set at ESPN for 2 hours, and everything ranged from college basketball to Bo Pelini. Do not challenge. Well, they can fire me. Hey, I'll get another job, blah, blah, blah. Oh, boy, Dabo Swinney. Well, he did the same thing. I'm not sure he dug his own grave. I'm not sure that he didn't. But after years of refusing to adapt, whether it's the transfer portal, now the state of affairs at Clemson football aren't so good. 2 years in a row, they are out of it. You didn't want to go with NIL. You didn't want to get into the transfer portal. You appear to be stubborn, and now apparently you appear to be challenging your fan base, your administration, to go belt to ass, boot to ass, and make you start coaching at Chadron State. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. That is really dumb. Here is what Dabo Swinney said earlier in the week as he got ready to play Syracuse, a team he was 17-point favorites of. Here's Swinney earlier.
If they want me gone, if they tired of winning, they can send me on the way, because that's all we've done is win. So if they tired of winning, we've won this league 8 out of the last 10 years. Is that not good? I'm just asking. Is that good? I don't know if that's good or not. To win your league 8 out of 10 years, to go to the playoffs 7 out of 10 years, to be in 4 national championships, win it twice. Yeah, we're a little down right now. Take your shots, but I got a long memory, in case y'all don't know. We'll be all right. We'll bounce back. This is a program built to last, always has been, always will be. And I would just say, if you give up on us if you don't believe in us because we've lost 2 games down to the last straight and you didn't believe in us anyway, so it don't matter. You wasn't all in anyway. If you're all in, you burn the ships, man. There ain't no exit strategy. Like, you're freaking all in. And hey, listen, I mean, if Clemson's tired of winning, they send me on my way, but I'm gonna go somewhere else and coach. I ain't going to the beach. Hell, I'm 55. I got a long way to go. Y'all gonna have to deal with me for a while. I got a long way to go. I'm just getting going. I'm just now good enough to be a head coach.
Well, maybe you aren't good enough to be a head coach. Maybe just now you've learned too much. Maybe just now you don't know what you don't know. Maybe just now you've gotten too smug. Maybe just now you've gotten too rich. Maybe just now you've gotten too fat-headed. Maybe now you think you are it. Now, there's a big difference between when you come in and you're hungry. What do they say about boxers sleeping in silk sheets? They don't necessarily want to get up and run at 4 a.m. to get ready for the big fight. Dabo Swinney, I'm just now getting ready to be a head coach. No, you're a little Bob Knight in you. My boy Bob Knight in the recruiting period would just take off and be gone, wouldn't recruit. He had all the answers. No. Don't get fat and sassy. Well, let me back up. You are fat and sassy, Dabo. You're big, fat, and sassy. I saw it. I was right there begging Coach Knight to go see a kid, begging Coach Knight to take a transfer, begging Coach Knight to take a minute off and go work. Dabo Swinney, you ain't just now good enough to be the head coach. You were good enough to be the head coach. Now you don't develop anybody. Name me a quarterback that's developed there. Post to Sean Watson. I'll hang up and listen. Trevor Lawrence came in really good. He didn't really develop. He got the hell out. The last 2 quarterbacks, this Klubnik can't play dead. I don't know who in the hell ranks this Klubnik as a first-round draft pick, but you can suck on it. He's terrible. I don't know. I think there are 2 sides of this. One, Swinney is getting humble, but he don't seem humble. And 2, you know what, Clemson fans, be careful who you wish for, because Curt Cignetti, the greatest coach in college football, is not walking through that door. That's really dumb. Really, really dumb. Now, Dabo's the 3rd highest paid coach in NFL or NCAA football, $11.5 million. 17-point favor going up against a very brash Fran Brown, who I'm starting to really like, and they looked helpless. 34-21. Normally, and I did this last week or the week before, I can't remember, I would have live bet Syracuse to come back from Clemson to come back from a deficit against Syracuse. I watched this game. There was no coming back. His team sucked. His quarterback sucks. His coaching sucks. His arrogance sucks. I saw it. Dabo, you need to call me. I'll tell you all about Bob Knight and his, unexalted, pray for me, departure from Indiana, because he sounded a hell of a lot like you. Here's Swinney postgame.
You talked about the pain in the locker room. ESPN kind of caught you at the end during the alma mater, being emotional. I guess, what was going through your mind to the end of the game?
Just, disappointed, painful. It hurt. I'm human. I'm not a cyborg. This is my life, man. I've been here 23 years. I love this place. I give this place the very best I got every single day. Every day. There's never been a day that I haven't given Clemson every ounce of everything I have. I hurt. I've invested my life here. And when I don't get the job done, I'm responsible. And I feel the pain. It's not just my pain. I feel everybody's pain. And, but that comes with my job. And I don't run from that at all. I've been in these situations many times. I've had a lot of great days, and this is a very, very low day. But I also know that we'll get through it. And there'll be a lot more great days. Nobody wants to hear that in this moment, but that's what drives me is being able to look back at different moments in my life and my career, certainly, and, you got through it. You got better. There's a lot of great days. So I just hurt. I hurt. I hurt, obviously, just because I take pride in what I do. But I hurt for our team. I hurt for our fans. And I certainly feel that.
Dabo Swinney, let me give you a coaching hint here, says I too much. He says me, I too much. This is all about, it didn't sound so braggadocious, did he, right there? Of course not. He got his ass whooped. He says I and me way too much. Now, this is a lesson for you coaches out there. Always wear your team's gear and stop with the I. It's we. It's us. It's always we. It's always us. It's amazing. Coaches take on this Christ-like thought of themselves. And you could tell, I hurt for everybody. But I'm the great martyr. This is my job. Then do your freaking job. Then do your job, son. Then do the modern football job. The greatest coach at adapting to the modern way of sport was Mike Krzyzewski. Mike Krzyzewski went from this militaristic guy, and by the end of it, he was ahead of NIL because he had players moving from Alaska. He had money managers involved. He was cheating. I guess it was legal, or it was Krzyzewski. There was a big article in the Louisiana paper about how are all these players' parents getting jobs. Krzyzewski was smarter than everybody and powerful. Cheated his ass off, at least according to that article, but he adapted. Swinney hadn't adapted. Swinney, and now he's a martyr. I, me, I. No, it's a Bob Knight. He'll be in Dunmeadow or whatever the equivalent of Dunmeadow is in Clemson in a couple years, asking people to pray for him and his wife. That's what Knight did. I always use Knight because arrogance comes before the fall. He didn't sound so arrogant there, did he? I'm not basking in this. I don't know Dabo Swinney, and I certainly don't give two shits about Clemson football. Never have, never will. But I watch a coach do exactly what Bob Knight did. Exactly. Oh, man. And I'm here to tell you, unless all of a sudden you change this pretty quick, it ain't going to change for you. But Dabo Swinney has become the poster child. So now they're 1-3 for the first time since 2004. Pundits had Clemson as a national championship led by Cade Klubnik. He's terrible. Honest to God. He's terrible. Let's go back to why. This is one of the reasons why. Swinney said most of the guys in the portal aren't good enough to play at Clemson. Here he is.
Portal. I mean, it's really pretty simple. Most of the guys in the portal aren't good enough to play for us.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. He says, me, I. And the flip side, Fran Brown, the head coach at Syracuse, continues to rise. Listen to this. He doesn't care about what Vegas thought. He don't give a rat's ass.
I don't care about what Vegas said. Nah, Vegas said Canelo was about to win. Right? Shit, you know what I'm saying? Crawford said different. Right? So, I mean.
There you go. There you go. I don't know. All I know is that team plays with a chip on his shoulder. Now, Angeli, his head is a quarterback. He lost, so we'll see. I'm actually going to Syracuse this weekend. I don't know if they play at home, but if it's not nice weather, we may go to the game. Hell, I don't know. Hey, I won again on Prize Picks. Prize Picks just gives me cash. I love Prize Picks. This show is sponsored by Prize Picks. I could show you. I had Caleb Williams and Daniel Jones both over half a touchdown. More than half a touchdown each. And it hit. I'm like Prize Picks' biggest ambassador. It's brought to you this episode. You and I make decisions by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day. But on Prize Picks, when you're right, you get paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. It's great to be right. Prize Picks also offers injury reboots. One of your players leaves the game in the first half, doesn't return. Prize Picks does not count it as a loss. Prize Picks also, if one of your, Prize Picks won't count it as a loss. I can't even read today. I'm so excited about Indiana. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code DAKICH to get 50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Dakich, DAKICH, to get 50 in lineups after you play your first $5. I don't know. I mean, is winning like 5 in a row on Prize Picks good? I think it is. I mean, I can show it to you if you would like. Here's my lineup. Let's see. I got one open. That's a season long. Yeah. There it is. There's my last two right there on Prize Picks. What I bet? $50 to win 65 on Daniel Jones and Caleb. Bet him more than. And then last week it was Tua and Patrick Mahomes more than. I don't know. Oh, it was this week actually. I don't know. I just get fat at Prize Picks. I love Prize Picks. It's fun. Did loud Stephen A. Smith just pull a Lion Ryan Clark? Oh. Or is he simply stating facts? While speaking on his podcast, the woke ESPN host claimed that too many non-players act like they know it all. Mina Kimes, really? I don't know. I mean, who knows? Stephen A. Smith, what you got to say? Smith, Clark, and Newton did not connect this discussion with Peter Schrager in any way, but it's worth noting we're just 2 weeks removed from Clark calling out Schrager for bringing his non-player view to Get Up. Smith similarly brings a non-player view to ESPN. He just claims to be self-aware about it, but that same self-awareness didn't stop Smith from saying he wouldn't have swung on LeBron James after the altercation during the Lakers game earlier this year. It hasn't stopped him from mocking Kyrie Irving and Kawhi Leonard. It hasn't stopped him from threatening Kevin Durant and Tiki Barber. I got to tell you, I don't really care what Stephen A. Smith has to say. I forgot about this. I thought Stephen A. Smith should be the best replacement for Jimmy Kimmel on ABC. And then somebody reminded me he did a talk show that literally less than what Barstool is getting watched. I think we're outdoing Barstool on our little streaming show. You know, one of the things you got to understand is it's one thing to bark once in a while. and bark on a show that nobody watches in the middle of the afternoon. But it's high pressure when you're doing a show at night. It's high pressure when you're in the seat of Ted Koppel, or you're in the seat of David Letterman, or you're in the seat of Johnny Carson. No, maybe Stephen A. Smith ought to sit it out, but I would love to hear a discussion on whether or not non-players really should be allowed to discuss football between Mina Kimes, Stephen A. Smith, and Peter Schrager. That'd be fun. And throw Bomani Jones in there, then he could call Schrager racist. The dumbest of the dumb. There's a lot of those. Jasmine Crockett is the current leader in the clubhouse. She is. But I got to tell you, every time I hear former Las Vegas Raiders coach Antonio Pierce, he famously was the moron that was with Plaxico Burress when he shot himself in a nightclub. You can't make this stuff up on these idiot ex-NFL players. You can't. I mean, you try, you say, that's not true. There's no way some dummy with the strictest gun laws in the country, New York, would bring a gun into a nightclub and then be dumb enough to shoot himself. No way. There's no way Ray Lewis wearing a suit in the back of a limo would be involved and then lie about and become a rat. There's no way to a murder. There's no way. But anyway, Antonio Pierce, well, he's come out of the woodwork. He's come out of the woodwork to claim that Tom Brady shared privileged information with him that Brady gathered during his duties as a Fox NFL broadcaster. Uh-huh. Yeah. All right. It's not hard for him to watch a few things on a Friday practice or hear things in a production meeting and be like, and have tidbits. This is Pierce. And you'd be foolish to think that he's not going to share that with the Raiders because we had those conversations about certain things. What things? I mean, it's foolish to ridiculous people. I'll give you a story. My first year coaching, one of the assistant coaches at Central Michigan left their entire playbook and call sheet right there in our practice. My assistant had it. He asked me what we should do with it. I said, what do you mean, what should we do with it? We're not doing nothing with it. Just leave it there. Well, don't even look at it. I don't care. I'm not doing that kind of stuff. Here's further from one of America's morons. I think everyone is going to give you the political answer and say, oh, it's no big deal. I'm calling BS on that because if me and you was to call the game, they'll be secretive with us. Now you got a guy's guy, a minority owner, a great player, who understands the game. He sees the game. He has obviously an interest in the Raiders. So I just think it's unprecedented. We haven't seen it. I don't know, man. Really? It's like President Trump said about Joe Biden. I understand what he just said, and I don't think he understands what he just said. Okay. I don't want to talk above my means. I don't know what the NFL has set for Tom Brady and his rules, but I know he was a great asset for us with the Raiders when I was there. And I think he'll still be a great asset as he's going forward, and I think this does help him and the Raiders. It didn't help you. What? If this is such a great asset, all right. Oh, I'm sorry. Do we have the clip? Or was that the other? No, that was the other one. Yeah. I mean, Pierce has opened a proverbial can of worms, and the issue isn't likely to evaporate for him. But unlike what he is suggesting, Brady was not allowed to attend any team practice last year. He was not allowed to attend production meetings with club personnel either. Yeah, I have no idea, and I really don't care. The thing that I care about is I was watching, the Bears game yesterday. We had the game on, and Brady offered nothing special for $30 million. And that's what I care about. That's what I see. He literally offered nothing interesting. And we didn't even know it was him. In fact, it was my wife's birthday yesterday, so her daughter and boyfriend came over, and he's a former football player, and we're watching the game. I go, who's this announcer? He goes, I don't know. If you're going to pay a guy $30 million, and then they showed Brady and Kevin Burkhardt, and you're like, oh, okay, that's Brady. And we didn't say who's this announcer because he was so good. We're like, I don't know. It was just in conversation. You're getting ripped off, Fox. And this is causing you a lot of problem you don't need. But hey, all pub is good pub, right? That's the way it works. $30 million for that? For an announcer? I guess it's more than that, though he appears on shows. I don't know. But back to Antonio Pierce. It didn't help you. Why not? Well, you know. No, I don't. Why not? I mean, you had the greatest player in the history of football. You're saying in production meetings with other teams, you're saying giving you information, you're saying all this went down. You're being a rat. You're being Ray Lewis. Why didn't it help you? I'll go to the beard on that one. I don't know. Hey, you enjoying the show? Of course you are. All you got to do, I need you to do this. I haven't checked the numbers lately. Go to youtube.com/@asign. Don't at me with Dan Dakich to like, comment, and subscribe. That way, you'll never miss any of our great content. Man, oh man. Things aren't getting easier for old Bill Belichick. Things aren't getting easier for Bill Belichick because, well, frankly, Bill Belichick doesn't seem, we told you this summer. I had a number of people tell me he just isn't working that hard. He just is not working that hard. He is just not doing what people need to do in college football to get players to win games. He's just not doing it. I mean, I don't know. You got to do that. And then he's got his little porcelain doll, the Ice Princess, on the sideline basically making out with him. And if I'm North Carolina, they have a chancellor at North Carolina. They're special. They don't have a president. It's North Carolina. If I'm North Carolina, I'm kind of like, is this really what we signed up for? Bubba Cunningham's the AD. I like Bubba Cunningham, but is this really what you signed up for? They got their ass beat by UCF, and the social media of UCF did not hold back on Belichick. Let's take a look here. I don't blame. Yeah, there you go. Man. You got to admit that's pretty good. Can you imagine Bill Belichick doing that on the left? Now, he's got a bigger rack than his girlfriend, and so I don't blame. But I don't know why I threw that in. I just felt like it. You know, that's called piling on. I'm just piling on there. That's all I did right there. I don't care. But this infuriates me. Belichick was the last of the coaching cowboys. He was the last of the people that stood up. He was the last coach that said, oh, I don't care about you damn media. And then all of a sudden he got challenged. He did. He got challenged like a lot of us do when you get your ass beat. And man, is he wilted in the challenge. Swear to God. It's like, what? This is who you really are? Hey, I get it. Midlife crisis, okay. I got a red convertible Mustang out there. That was my midlife crisis, I guess. I always wanted to have a fast car that was a convertible, so I bought one like 12 years ago. His midlife crisis is some porcelain plastic, I don't know, 24-year-old that he met when he was doing his homework with him. Jesus. Tell you this, you're going to know what I'm talking about, most of you out there. It's undefeated. And if it got Belichick, if it beat football out for Belichick's affection, it will always stay undefeated. Hey, Michigan head coach, big fat Biff Poggi, joined game day Saturday ahead of Michigan's game on the road against Nebraska. And Nick Saban jokingly gave Biff a hard time about paying players and shot back real quick. Here he is. Here's Poggi and Saban on paying players.
I got to ask you, when you were at St. Francis, I never saw you coach it down. You were the owner. You were Jerry Jones. You paid the players and all that. You did the payroll. Are you using the same philosophy at Michigan now?
Yeah, and I learned all that from you. So,
Ha ha, hell, he just outed him. Everybody knows them big fat guys with cigars were buying all kind of players for Saban. And Saban was smart, right? Saban was really smart. He got out when it evened up. But why is that so funny? I always get a kick out of it. You hear Saban ask the dumbass question, right? And all the guy, I'm telling you, I swear to you, I did this. I did this when I was interim head coach at Indiana, and all the fat Southern Indiana drunks were like, I'd say something stupid and look at my wife, wink, and watch me go, that's so funny. What's so funny about that? Funny part and the true part was what the big fat pogey had to say. Yeah, I remember he was like an investment banker, wanted to get into coaching, got a high school job, paid players, won a bunch, and then became friends with Harbaugh and got into coaching. When he became the head coach at Charlotte, got his ass beat. But yet the other day, he coached Michigan to a win. Here's Poggi after the win. Oh, I'm going to eat some Haagen-Dazs, coffee ice cream with my wife, smoke a Cuban cigar, and then probably go to the hospital. Good for him. Yeah. Get the good ice cream, get the good Cuban cigar, and get the good health care. There's nothing wrong with that. Oh, man. I love it. You know, Nick Saban, like most douchebag former head coaches do, I can't believe he said that. That's no truth to the rumors. Shut up. You paid players. And then when it was even for Saban when he was in the NFL and he couldn't win a game. He went back to Alabama where he was paying guys and others weren't, allegedly, and he won all kind of stuff. Don't be defensive about it. What are you doing? Embrace it, baby. All right, here it is. AOC. AOC is one of the worst politicians to ever be a member of Congress. She's taking shots to score political points. Here's the deal. You got to understand what's going on here. And I try to help. I don't know if you remember, but it was about 8 weeks, 9 weeks, whatever it was. They tried it out, Piss Pot Pete, 20 pounds of swinging meat. We call him Pothole Pete here in Indiana, Pete Buttigieg. They tried him out. He was on all the shows. He was making the rounds. And polling was done because they're trying to float somebody in front of the American people that the American people would actually vote for. True story. Here's a dead man's poll. Nothing. Here's Pete Buttigieg's polling. Same level. He got as much support from the African-American / minority community as a dead man. I used to tell players when they had no rebounds, you mean a dead man had the same amount of rebounds. What are you doing? But the truth of the matter is, so they pulled him out there. All right? They put Wentz out there. Well, whatever that, Tim Walz. Nothing. Zero. Zip. Jasmine Crockett is trying really hard. But her level of stupidity doesn't make us want to vote for her. It makes us feel sorry for her. It makes us laugh at her. So now the next one, AOC. So AOC, you're going to see a serious AOC. She's not going to jump around like the village idiot anymore. You know, doing rap songs and doing this, and she's not going to give you all those fingers and all that stupidity because she is now the next one being floated. She's the next one being floated to show. She's the next one being floated to see, is it possible that we are stupid enough to allow this idiot to run for president and actually be serious about it? That's what the backstory is here. Now, it is killing AOC and her ilk that we, us, conservatives, Republicans, see the death of Charlie Kirk and we go, let's pray about it. Let's memorialize him. Those idiots, the party of violence and domestic terror, saw the death of a fentanyl-driven wife-beater, woman abusing George Floyd or whatever his name is, as an opportunity to loot. Steal Adidas and Nike. Get themselves a new iPhone. Maybe grab an iMac, tear down cities, burn places. The difference is stark, and it's driving them batshit crazy. Now, Kirk, he stood for values that everybody believes in. But AOC wants to drag his name. They haven't figured out yet that doing this doesn't garner anything other than contempt. It doesn't. They will figure it out, and they'll get some cheap bullshit thing. Like Tim Walz talking about we're going to run the pick six. All right. It's everything wrong with politics today, and we would not expect anything less from AOC. Here is this clown, AOC, on Charlie Kirk.
Today, the Republican House majority brought to the floor a resolution honoring, quote, honoring the life and legacy of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's assassination was a horrific and vile attack and incident of political violence. And condemning the depravity of Kirk's brutal murder is a straightforward matter, one that is especially important to help stabilize an increasingly unsafe and volatile political environment where everyday people feel more at risk. We can deeply disagree and come together as a country to denounce the horror of this killing. And it is not a license for the abuse of power and whitewashing of American history. Today's resolution only underscores the majority's recklessness by choosing to author this condemnation and honoring on a purely partisan basis, instead of uniting Congress in this tragedy with one of the many bipartisan options to condemn political violence and Kirk's murder, as we did with the late Melissa Hortman. Instead, the majority proceeded with a resolution that brings great pain to the millions of Americans who endured segregation, Jim Crow, and the legacy of bigotry today. We should be clear about who Charlie Kirk was. A man who believed that the Civil Rights Act that granted Black Americans the right to vote was a mistake. Who, after the violent attack on Paul Pelosi, claimed that, quote, some amazing patriot, unquote, should bail out his brutal assailant. And accused Jews of controlling, quote, not just the colleges, it's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it, unquote. His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans, far from the working, quote, working tirelessly to promote unity, unquote, asserted by the majority in this resolution. It is equally important that Congress does unite to reject the government's attempt to weaponize this moment into an all-out assault on free speech across the country.
They're going to learn at some point this kind of stupidity, this kind of rhetoric, this kind of lying, this kind of taking things out of context doesn't work. They haven't learned it yet. They really haven't learned it yet. I got a few of the old hags I went to high school with, the old birds that are cat ladies, telling me, you need to watch PBS. Really? I need to watch PBS? Okay. No, I don't. No, the old birds and the old ladies of the Democratic Party and the people like AOC and the rest haven't figured this out, and I'm trying to help you. If I were the leader of the Democratic Party, I would go out and I would search for somebody, anybody, that can resonate as a non-psychopath, that can be an honest leader of discussion. Not somebody that takes words out of context, not somebody that's so far left she can't see him. No, but you got to give AOC credit here. You do. She's not giving all the hands. She's not trying to talk like a sister. She's not dancing around rapping with Jamal Bowman. She's trying to make a run here. So let's give her 10 to 15 minutes. She'll be on the shows. She's not trying to be something that she isn't now. But what she is just plain hateful and a liar. And that's the biggest problem. Again, I go back to this. I go back to all you got to do is compare the two. Charlie Kirk's memorial yesterday, his beautiful wife got up there and forgave the man that shot her husband. My college roommate and first-round draft choice, Uwe Blop, forgave the man that punched his son, killing him. No, it's amazing. It's amazing the grace some people have. What did Republicans and conservatives do? They came together in prayer after a tragedy. After a big-time mainstream tragedy affected maybe a leader of a youth movement the likes of which we've never seen. They didn't riot in the streets. They didn't cause people to lose their livelihood like so many did here. The great Trey Wallace is all about football and basketball and whatever, but, man, this is Trey Wallace kind of time. The great writer for OutKick.com joins us. You sent me the text. You were watching. Mendoza for Heisman, first-round pick. Indiana, we calling it belt to that Illini ass, big boy.
That was the disgusting was probably the best way to put it. I think the folks at NBC would rather gone to the local news in the fourth quarter than have to put up and watch whatever Illinois was deciding to put on the field. I mean, that was they ran over 300 yards as well, Dan, which was like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay. And then, Mendoza is balling in the pocket. You're holding Luke Altmaier, Illinois quarterback, to under 150 yards. It was just fascinating to see. And by the way, Kirk Cignetti, my man, was in that third quarter. You knew he was like, okay, we're about to just whip their ass. We're not going to stop. We're just going to continue scoring points. And they did. And you know what? It's not a shot to Illinois. I don't mean this as a shot to Illinois because fans have been coming to me on social media. I just didn't think Illinois was like the 9th ranked team in the country. I thought they were a top 20 team, but just 9th ranked team kind of stood out to me. But at the end, it really doesn't matter what Indiana was able to do. And you saw the jump in the polls, Dan. Again, Kurt's got himself a team that I think is going to make a run here. They can afford a loss. And the best thing that would happen for Indiana is Illinois beat USC on Saturday, this upcoming Saturday, and it makes the win you look even better. You just can't underestimate what Cignetti is doing at Indiana. And I think folks are figuring that out around the country.
Yeah, a lot of people are criticizing the polls. I like polls. I do. I don't know. I like them. I got no problem with them. But you can't really trust them. And, we always say it's who you play, when you play, and where you play them. And I'm telling you, I said all week on this show and the other show, this is a tough one for Illinois. I didn't expect it to be 63, though. I really didn't. Let me ask you, let me go a little deeper with Mendoza. Is Mendoza a legit Heisman Trophy candidate? Is he one of the favorites?
Yeah, I think you saw his numbers jump up. I think he's plus 700 right now. I think he's right behind John Mateer. Absolutely, Dan. And you keep this up, you keep winning. And I'm just saying, look, if you drop a game, that's fine. It doesn't matter. But what he's been able to do, I love his throwing accuracy. I love what he's doing in the pocket. I love that Cignetti just trust him and let him sling the football. And and also he can make plays with his feet. Like he's going to be somebody that we watch for the next 12 weeks of the season. And we're going to see if he's going to be in the Heisman contention come November. And I think he can be. And looking at Indiana's schedule, the teams they can beat, I think he can only skyrocket from here. So I do. I think find me, just coming off this past weekend, find me 3 better quarterbacks than what Mendoza did. You can't.
No, you can't. And, the way Klubnik has gone away, basically Arch has gone away, it really opens a door. Dabo Swinney, you and I were talking off air. There's a thing in coaching, man. If they'll fire Bob Knight at Indiana, they'll fire you. If they'll trade Peyton Manning in Indianapolis, they'll get rid of you. Don't dare your fan base to fire you ever and then throw a crap performance. What's going on, Trey?
I mean, I tell you, Dan, and you know this better than anybody, being in the coaching business, When you go out on a Tuesday or Wednesday and you hold a press conference and you're telling the fans out there, hey, look what I've done for you in the past. Look how much winning I've done. And guess what? If you don't want me, I'm 55 years old. I'll still go coach somewhere else. I'm not going to the beach. Okay, that's fine. You better back your ass up with a win. No.
Yes.
They come out on Saturday and they just look flat. The defense is not there. Syracuse quarterback Steve Angeli's running around on him. Prayers to him for a speedy recovery. He tore his Achilles tendon in the second half. But then, you got Syracuse backup quarterback going in there and still moving the football. They they look so out of whack. And I mean that in a sense of, I don't know if there's not a way to come back from it this year. Sure, they could go win 5 or 6 games and that's fine. But Dabo Swinney, what he did last week, and then he comes out after the game and he's talking about, we can get better and it's very emotional for me and whatnot. And, this one hurts hard. That's fine. But what you don't do is you don't go piss off your fans the week before. You don't, and the donors and the boosters, the ones that are funding the football program and your NIL purposes. And so the fact that he did that, and then you back that up with that loss, it's rough. And guess what? They're going to go play Bill Belichick in North Carolina. I thought that game would be interesting before the season started. Well, both of those teams are just horrible right now. So now you have nothing to build off that one. And for Dabo Swinney overall, we kind of talked about it before we came on. You're starting to bite off a little bit more than you can chew. And if you continue losing like this, somebody at Clemson, some big money people, folks inside the administration will say, okay, let's hit the reset button then. If you want to threaten us and act like you don't want to be here, and I get a lot of it's tongue in cheek and I understand that part of it, but again, you're putting yourself out there for the ramifications to come if you don't succeed. And he's not succeeding right now. And he could turn into the 2024 Florida State team that ended up 2-10 on the season. Like, let's not look past that. So they got some stuff going on right now. I've talked to many folks around the Clemson program over the last 2 days. They're agitated, frustrated, don't know what to do to turn it around. Okay, the first thing you do is you don't go out there and you don't talk shit to the fans during the game week. That's it.
Hey, that would be number one. I get it. You want to defend he says I, me, I. It's the Bob Knight playbook. I know Bob Knight is old, but I'm telling you, I pay attention to that. It is that playbook, and that ain't good. That ain't good. Hey, the other side of it, Texas Tech seems like a real team here, huh?
Ooh, money well spent. Transfer portal,
yes.
going on the road. You're kicking off at 10 o'clock local time. Like, think about that for a minute. Like, you've coached basketball for many. Like, you trying to get your guys for a 10 o'clock in the morning game? Like, it's tough. And that's why that first half was so ugly. I mean, I think there was 5 turnovers in the first half. But then Texas Tech comes out in the second half, and it's just belt to ass. That's all it was. And then they've shown themselves that, okay, they got the quarterback position. They got the defense. By the way, the defense looks badass. So you got the defense now. Joey McGuire, the head coach, is sitting there. I'm sure he's privately thinking, okay, we got ourselves a squad that's going to go fight for the Big 12 and going to go fight for a national championship. I'm just saying, that was such a big stage for them to come out and do what they did to Utah, to a team that's good, by the way. And the fact that they did it in the winter, I'm telling you, Dan, Texas Tech, we got to start we already were keeping an eye on them because we knew how much money they had spent, over $30 million on this year's roster. But after that performance, we're definitely paying attention, and this could be one of those years where Texas Tech makes a run here, and we see what the futures look like really in college football, where you're going to go out and spend $30, $35, $38 million and put together a run. So credit to them, man. The tortillas were flying in Utah this past weekend.
I love belt to ass. Who's the best team in the SEC right now?
Oh, God. LSU's got Garrett Nussmeier is coming back from a stomach injury type of problem, rib cage type of problem. They play Ole Miss this weekend. I'm going to say I'm going to say Georgia. I am. I still think LSU is the top team. They got to go on the road. This weekend, it's not going to be separation weekend, but I tell you something, we're going to find out a lot. Georgia goes on the road. Alabama goes to Georgia on Saturday. Should be a fun game. Think Alabama is going to be fine. They've kind of recovered. Ole Miss and LSU are going to battle out in Oxford. I think this is the weekend, we kind of find out. And then in 2 weeks, Texas has to go to Florida. And Texas they aren't what I thought they were going to be offensively. I think a lot of it has to do clearly with Arch Manning. And by the way, I don't care what he did against UTEP. I'm glad that he was throwing some touchdowns. I'm happy for him, but I just don't care. I'm sorry. You got to go prove it against a Florida defense in 2 weeks. And we'll see if the head coach is still there, which I think he will be. But I think overall right now I'd have to say Georgia.
The headline on ESPN.com, quarterback Arch Manning gets his swagger back as number 8 Texas rolls. That would be over Sammy Houston State. Yeah, he got his swagger back against SHU, baby.
So you go and beat, let's see. So you go and beat Utah, and then you're going to turn around and play Sam Houston State, and then Arch Manning. It's good to see him feeling it again. You could tell he was feeling it, and that's great. Okay, that's great. If you want to talk shit to an opponent while he's laying on the ground after you score a touchdown, have at it. But you still got to go prove it against somebody that you're not eating as a cupcake. I'm sorry. There's a lot of teams out there in the country that are going to put the same amount of points up against Sam Houston State that Texas did, and maybe even more. The real test is going to come when they go to Gainesville, I think, to me, just because of the defense side. So, well done, Arch. You got back in a rhythm. You got back in a flow. Congratulations. You're figuring out. He told coaches at Texas that I'm starting to feel like myself. Okay, that's great, man. But you've had 3 cupcakes in a row to figure out this offense. And everybody was scared to death after last weekend, and then he comes out and does it. I'm just saying, look, again, let's not get ahead of ourselves with Texas like everybody wanted to do in the preseason before they went to Ohio State. Let's see what they do when they get into SEC play. I think that's what stands out to me.
Yeah, and it's not just one game in the SEC. If you're supposed to be this, if you're supposed to be that guy, then you got to be that guy week after week in the SEC. What's going to happen, Trey? Let's say he has a decent game and they win. Oh, my God, Archman. No, you got to do it in the SEC, in the Big Ten, in your conference, week after week after week, period.
That's it. There's no getting around anymore. Again, we can show all the highlights we want to of what he did this past weekend and the previous 2 weeks. That's gravy. Great. Congratulations. But until you go on the road in the conference, until you're hosting some big teams at home, that's when we're really going to figure out about Texas. I thought that, look, I predicted before the season started, they're going to have 3 losses on the season. I'm standing by that right now. That Texas will have 3 losses on the season. They'll fight for a playoff spot. We'll see if they actually get in. But at the same time, man, just stop promoting these schools for beating the ever-living hell out of somebody they paid $1.5 million to come take a beating. It's great. It's a practice game. Congratulations, you won. Move on.
Auburn, Oklahoma, SEC officiating announced the crew should have not allowed the trick substitution by Oklahoma. They shouldn't have allowed that touchdown to stand. What'd you see here?
I saw the SEC absolutely screw themselves, shoot themselves in the foot. They wanted to release that statement 3.5, 4, 5 hours after the game. By the way, this is the same play that Lane Kiffin ran against Texas A&M 2 years ago. Same exact play. And if you go back and look at the play we're talking about, I'll give everybody a little 20-second synopsis here. The Oklahoma player was acting as if he was coming off the field for an injury or a substitution. He stopped right before he got off the field. He did it, by the way, right in front of an official. Literally, the official was standing right there. All of a sudden, Auburn is caught off guard. They don't see him. Touchdown pass, wide open. Then the SEC wants to come out and say, oops, by the way, that play was illegal. It should not have been a touchdown. It should have been a 15-yard penalty on Oklahoma. Like, okay, that's fine. I can't, the problem is I can't sit here and tell you that Oklahoma would have still won the game because they won the game by, well, it was around 7 points, and you had a touchdown that shouldn't have been on the board. I'm not saying Auburn in 10 years is going to say, like they did with their national championships, hey, we're claiming these. They're not going to come back and say, we're going to claim that Oklahoma game. That's a win for us. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but the SEC, man, they look really, really bad. Transparency with the officiating needs to get better, and you can't keep screwing up big moments like this, Dan. If they don't score that touchdown, if you kick a field goal, the game changes. Like, so they have to be better, man. Like, this is shit. It is. It really is shit from what the SEC is doing right now. And I'm telling you, Hugh Freeze knew it. He wasn't going to speak about it after the game because he knew he was going to catch a $100,000 fine if he did. But at some point, maybe this week during his press conferences, he's going to blast that conference. And I just feel like he has the right to do it because you can't screw up big moments like that.
I do too. Hey, speaking of fines, last thing before I let you go, I just saw this. Syracuse fined $25,000 by the ACC for faking injuries with 9 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Quote, the actions by the two players, especially with the concurrent action by the coach in the team area, were a clear attempt to gain an unmerited advantage by stopping the game in order to secure an injury timeout. There you go, big boy.
They found them. They found the two players that were going down and they didn't have torn hamstrings. Congratulations. And you know what Syracuse is doing this morning when they see that? Okay, cool. I'll have that wire transfer to you over in about 10 minutes. We're good. Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. We're good. Doesn't matter.
That's exactly right. And the same thing Oklahoma is doing. Same thing. Hey, all right. You guys are mad. We did it wrong. Eh? You know what? We got to win.
Oh,
thank you, my friend. Have a great week.
I'm sorry. That touchdown didn't count? Okay. Well, the final score does. We're good. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, we're good. We're fine. We'll pay it. See you, brother. There he goes, the great Trey Wallace. Where college football is, Trey Wallace is. I got to tell you, though, Indiana football. Don't even try it. Indiana football is the best team so far in college football. And I'll say it until it isn't true. But I can only go by results. We'll talk about that and more on Stock Up, Stock Down. Also, Jay Hutt's going to join us bottom of the hour.
Football's fine.
Hey, welcome back. What a morning we got. It is Monday, and we like Mondays because we recap all the stuff that happened over the weekend. And the number one thing that happened over the weekend is the great state of Indiana is a football state. In fact, I would argue it's the football epicenter of America. With that having said, a little stock up, stock down for you on a Monday. Fernando Mendoza. You know, I was driving back from a wedding, and I was watching the game at the wedding. Driving back, didn't have my phone on. The lovely Lee Ross and I were having a chat. Next thing you know, text from Trey Wallace. Next thing you know, text from Tom Luganbelt. Man, is Fernando Mendoza good? Holy crap. Fernando Mendoza. Whoa. Well, I got to tell you, I didn't know what happened. And then I said, Lee, something good must have happened for the great IU football squad. They were already up 28-7 or something like that. And next thing you know, Mendoza he was just making plays. And now he has leaped to the top, plus 800 of the Heisman Trophy rankings. It's not going to surprise me one way or the other. It would not surprise me if the college football world said, yeah, we're going to punish an Indiana player because we don't think they should have made the college football playoff last year. Now, I get that seems far-fetched, but it's not. Those idiots that vote. Did you see that little girl last week that acted like she's a voter? I mean, come on. Anyway, Mendoza is going to have a chance to prove it. Mendoza, listen to this. Mendoza's next 2 weekends, he is at Iowa, which, all right, he is at, many people think, the number one team in the country, Oregon. You go on the road, you do your thing. You also have a chance. Maryland had a big win. Penn State at Penn State, probably at night. This kid has a chance, a real chance, because his team is good enough, and he's obviously good enough, and he had a national TV win against Illinois early in the season, which thrusts you, which makes people say, hey, wait a second, we can't go negative on this kid. Now, I mean, he threw for 5 touchdowns. He threw 23 passes. He completed freaking 21. Now, I don't know about you, but that's pretty good. 270 yards, 5 touchdowns, 21 of 23. Oh, by the way, it's against the number 9 team, according to morons, in the country. All right, Aaron Rodgers, we got to go stock up. He passed his boy, Brett Favre, on the all-time touchdown passing list. It was his 509th touchdown passing, 4th all-time. Now, I got to tell you, a lot of people are disparaging Aaron Rodgers, and, we'll jump in. We're not afraid. But Aaron Rodgers went on the road and beat Vrabel 21-14. It was one of those workman-like deals. Rodgers, 2 touchdowns and interception, didn't throw for much. But you know what? At the end of the day, his team got it done. And here's the deal with Rodgers. I think a lot of people are far too negative on Aaron Rodgers. I think too many people are far too negative because of his politics. I think that is turning now, and Rodgers has said he is on the right side of history, and I don't think he's wrong. I mean, he's probably right. They always say you don't have to throw for much. Rodgers threw for 139, and listen to this. The team rushed for 64. They literally got no yards. We ain't got no yards. But you know what? 5 turnovers, that'll win you a football game. So good for Rodgers. I'm rooting for Rodgers. I am. Speaking of Rodgers, it wasn't but 2 years ago, Isaiah Rodgers and another Colt were sitting in the Colts locker room. The building. They all talk about the building like it's a shrine, right? Well, Isaiah Rodgers and a teammate with the Colts were betting on their phones on a legal site on a basketball game. I think it was Duke, Carolina, but I could be wrong about that. NFL came in, did some tracking, and realized, hey, in that hallowed shrine, the building on 56th Street where all the great things happen, Isaiah Rodgers got suspended for a year for gambling. He handled it great. He went, as you see, to the Minnesota Vikings now, became the first player ever to return, listen for it, a touchdown via interception, a return fumble for a touchdown, and he forced 2 fumbles in a game. Good for him. People always said he was a really good guy. People always said this was BS, and I agreed with him. Good for Isaiah Rodgers. Stock up. Everybody that attended or paid attention to or mourned with at the Charlie Kirk Memorial. That's a big-time stock up. When conservatives come together, it's love. People always say, and this actually happened to me one time, when you get around a group of Democrats, liberals, and you're not like them, they will berate you. The hate will fly. The opposite is true with conservatives. When conservatives get around and they're not like you, usually we shake their hand and go, hey, how you doing? No. Charlie Kirk showed once again that good can overcome evil. By every account, the Holy Spirit, God, Jesus, was right there in that facility with all those people. Evil, of course, was outside. There were old white folks with their signs of hate. There were old white folks with their, I guess you could call it protesting. How the hell do you protest a memorial where a guy was shot in cold blood in front of his wife and his 2 children, and you think you're on the right side of it by going to a memorial, going outside and, protesting? A lot of you probably don't remember, but you can look it up, the Westboro Church of Arkansas. That's what the Democratic Party has become. Westboro Church used to go to things like servicemen's funerals, protest across the street loudly. Used to go to police officers' funerals, protest loudly across the street. That's what the Democratic Liberal Party has become. They not only are a domestic terrorist group, but they've become the Westboro Church. And it's sad to see. It's sad because they run our big cities. Oh, by the way, another 12 or so shot here in my city, couple dead in Indianapolis, mass shooting in one, 2 dead, 5 shot in one. No, it's the way it is, and I got some old birds. I got some old birds that I went to high school with bitching, whining, and moaning about the love of the conservative Republican Party. It's sad. Stock down to those people, first and foremost. Stock down to those people that decided you want to be the Westboro Church. Stock down to those people that decided I want to protest at Charlie Kirk's funeral, memorial, whatever you want to call it. Imagine you wake up one morning, you look over at your wife and you go, come on, I got the signs. What signs, hon? Hate. What? Yeah, hate. Charlie Kirk, evil. Wait, we're going to see Charlie Kirk? No, he's dead. We're going to his memorial, and we're going to protest Charlie Kirk. Wait, what? All right, honey, I got nothing to do. Let's go. Think about that conversation. Think about that home. It's unbelievable. Yeesh. All right, let's get back to Deportes. We got 3 head coaches. We got stock down. 1, Luke Fickell. Man. Luke Fickell's Wisconsin operation got that ass beat at home. I feel bad for Luke Fickell because by all accounts, he's a pretty nice guy. I've had the chance to meet him, and he is a pretty nice guy. But Wisconsin fans, they've had enough. Maryland, with America's worst, dumbest head coach, Mike Loxley, look it up from his time at New Mexico, went in there, and I'm going to use my saying, belt to ass. 27-10. Fickell's team looked inept. Another one of those. I went, I looked, I thought about live betting. I did. I'll take a live bet on this. We'll see what's going to happen. Guess what? I watched a couple plays. Nay, Nanook. Double D is stepping back. I'm not going to live bet that mess. My normal play would have been Clemson and Wisconsin. Live bet them both. Put them in a parlay. What the hell? And see what happens. Small amount to win big. I wouldn't have spent $5 on either of those teams, and in fact, I didn't. Those teams were abysmal. Those teams were a train wreck. Those teams, in a word, sucked. Mike Gundy, the mouth. Another Dabo Swinney type mouth. Gundy's been at Oklahoma State for 6,726 years. And when the great hair of Mike Gundy had T. Boone Pickens in the background, buying players, getting things done, well, guess what? They won. When it all evened out, Gundy's learned, maybe I ain't that smart. Maybe I'm not the brilliant tactician that I claim to be. Everybody's got as good of players now because everybody has got a T. Boone Pickens. Ours is Mark Cuban. I don't know, Todd Wagner. Couple billionaires. Now that everyone's got them, these, quote, brilliant coaches don't seem so brilliant. Saban was smart enough to get out. Saban was smart enough to partner up with McAfee. Now Saban's a thing. But Saban would have been no different. Get out of here with that. Brian Callahan. I can't wait to talk to Jonathan. Stock down Brian Callahan. Look, the number of things that were mismanaged in that Colts game. There was actually a timeout by the Colts, a timeout by the Titans. I don't know which order, but there was same time. Timeout, then timeout. Loading up a kick. Listen to this. The Titans got a delay of game. 2 timeouts in a row. Then the clock started winding, and the Titans weren't ready to kick. They got a 5-yard penalty, and I believe they missed a kick. Even if they made the kick, who cares? The amount of stupid on the Titans was fascinating. I saw and watched every play of the Miami Dolphins taking on the Colts. I saw and watched every play of the Tennessee Titans taking on the Colts. And I got to tell you, both are awful. I don't know who's worse. I guess, gun to head, I would probably say the Titans are worse. Cam Ward looks good. He looks fine. But, man, that looked like the Colts last year, a mismanaged pile of crap. I don't know. I am anxious to see what our boy Jonathan Hutton says, but I'm guessing what Hutt is going to say is pretty much the same thing that I just said to you. Stock down Brian Callahan and your inept staff. Stock up to the Colts. I mean, damn. If you showed up and there's about 30,000 empty seats, probably not that many by the time the game started, but a lot of people that I know went to that. A lot of people that I know were Colts fans and were texting me saying, man, whew, this is freaking Indy South. That's not great. That's not great for Tennessee. But I ain't mad about it. Think about this now, stock up Colts. I told you this was going to happen. I told you. Told you C.J. Stroud wasn't all that. Houston's 0-3. Team I worry about, Jacksonville. Jacksonville 2-1. They got it done yesterday. That's the team in the South that I worry about. I told you C.J. Stroud wasn't it, but that's all right. Hey, going back to the great state of Indiana, Indiana improved to 4-0. Iowa's next. I want you to think about this. Iowa next, and then Indiana, have to go on the road against Oregon, which might be by that time, after another win, a top 5 matchup. Now, I want you to think about that just for a second. So, what are pundits going to say? Trap game. I ain't buying it. No. I think Kurt Cignetti's team, they may lose. Maybe Iowa, plays one of those games. Kirk Ferentz getting paid too. But I don't believe in trap games with this particular team. I don't believe going on the road when you're Indiana in a Big Ten game is anything to ever be overlooked for a, quote, bigger game down the road. Am I right? I don't know. Here's the deal. If Iowa plays really well and Indiana gets a couple bad breaks, Indiana may lose, and then everybody was going to say trap game. And that's cool. There's nothing you can say about that. But Kirk Cignetti has proven that he can get his team ready. He's proven that he can go beat some folk. Now, this game here is probably, the Iowa one, more difficult than any game they had last year except Ohio State. I'm not talking about Oregon. I'm talking about Iowa. Iowa's well coached. Pretty good quarterback, cocky quarterback that's used to winning. We'll see. But I ain't mad about it. You know what's going to happen? Next week is going to be one of the great weekends in sports. It is. Ryder Cup, Indiana, Iowa. Don't at me, people. All right. Second question. When will the Colts lose their first game? They got to go to the Rams next week for an afternoon late, 4:15, 4:05, whatever it is, start. All right. I don't know that that's come. Colts have punted one time. One time over their first 3 games. That's the fewest since 1940 of any team ever in the NFL. Now, having said that, what does that mean? I'll tell you what that means. That means they're driving the football. They've gone for it on 4th down a few times. It also means, what did I tell you about Jonathan Taylor? Jonathan Taylor has been the man. The Colts have in the past forgotten about JT, as he's called around these parts. You know what? I haven't forgotten about JT. I won't forget about JT. No, sir. No chance. No way. No how. Give the rock to Jonathan Taylor. Sit back, relax, and watch the ride. Seriously. I don't know what your problem is. But Jonathan Taylor can catch the ball. Now, Jonathan Taylor can catch swing passes. Jonathan Taylor is the man. That's what it tells me. It tells me they haven't forgotten, and this is weird, shouldn't count. It does. This tells me they haven't forgotten about their best player. Let me go over some things from the NFL yesterday. How about them Browns? Late field goal, real late, to win over the Packers. It was only a week ago. I thought the Packers were pretty good. Let me tell you how misguided I am. I said that I think the Bengals are going to make the playoffs despite Joe Burrow not being there. Didn't really happen that way. Let me throw something out to you. Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, 70% completion rate, 14 of 20, 173 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and Jordan Mason went and ran for over a hundo. Isn't it amazing when teams get a guy that runs for a hundo, they get her done? It is amazing. Buccaneers, Jets. Woo, the Jets showed some fight. Jets, Jets. But Baker Mayfield, still undefeated. Chase McLaughlin, field goal as time expired. Why? You know why. You know why? Because Baker Mayfield got the ball late. I'm going to argue this. That's 2 weeks in a row. I was watching that one. When Baker Mayfield got the ball late, you kind of sort of knew, they're going to score. Are the Saints going over? Are they? I mean, they went to Seattle, and again, my favorite saying, belt to that ass. Belt to ass. Saints might go over. Bears, bear down, Chicago Bears. Yeah. Caleb Williams won me a prize pick bet. Caleb Williams threw for not 1, not 2, but 3. Count them, 3 touchdowns, and the Bears belt-to-assed the Cowboys. I mean, they belt-to-assed them. And you know what? Don't at me about it either. No, that's what it was. They showed Jerry Jones late. Good for them. 49ers got a field goal late. Thank God I took the Cardinals plus 2.5. Man, if you took the Cardinals plus 2.5, God bless us and God bless America. And then lastly, all right, kudos to Chris Collingsworth. Chris Collingsworth and Mike Tirico yesterday, while watching the Chiefs, called it out like it should have been called out. This ain't the same. The Giants suck. Russell Wilson sucks. The pass he threw at the end of halftime, where corner of the end zone, he throws it short. It's like a lob pass in basketball. When you throw a lob pass in basketball, you either throw it, your teammate gets it, or it goes out of bounds. He threw a corner of the end zone pass short. You know what happened. Interception. You then know what happened. Mahomes had enough time. You then know what happened. Mahomes took the ball down the field, kicked the field goal at the buzzer to go up at half. What are we doing? Russell, thank you for your service. Love you long time. Jackson Dart, get your young, dashing ass in there. That has to happen. Now, on the other side of it, I don't know. 1 and 2, Mahomes still special. Everybody else, there was a pass that was really telling. And Tirico and Collingsworth were all over it. Mahomes, basically, as they described, pitch and catch, middle of the field. Mahomes threw it left short to Travis Kelce. It was, in a word, ridiculous. I don't know what to tell you. But what I am going to tell you is this. That team don't look right. I assume they'll make the playoffs, although I said earlier they wouldn't. We'll see. I don't know. All right. Back to Dabo Swinney. If you're just joining the show, our lead story was Dabo Swinney, well, challenging the fans, challenging his people on how good he is before he got his ass beat by Syracuse. Let's recap. Here's Dabo Swinney earlier in the week defending himself, bragging about himself. Take a shot of coffee every time he says, me, I. Do it right now. Here he is earlier in the week.
If they want me gone, if they tired of winning, they can send me on their way because that's all we've done is win. So if they tired of winning, we've won this league 8 out of the last 10 years. Is that not good? I'm just asking. Is that good? I don't know if that's good or not. To win your league 8 out of 10 years, to go to the playoffs 7 out of 10 years, to be in 4 national championships, win it twice. Yeah, we're a little down right now. Take your shots, but I got a long memory in case y'all don't know. We'll be all right. We'll bounce back. This is a program built to last, always has been, always will be. And I would just say if you give up on us if you don't believe in us because we've lost 2 games down to the last straight and we're one, you didn't believe in us anyway, so it don't matter. You wasn't all in anyway. If you're all in, you burn the ships, man. There ain't no exit strategy. Like, you're freaking all in. And hey, listen, I mean, if Clemson's tired of winning, they send me on my way, but I'm gonna go somewhere else and coach. I ain't going to the beach. Hell, I'm 55. I got a long way to go. Y'all gonna have to deal with me for a while. I got a long way to go. I'm just getting going. I'm just now good enough to be a head coach.
No, you're just now arrogant enough to be a head coach. You're just now believing your own bullshit, and that's never good. Now, believe me, that's never, ever good. You got to adapt to the game. You got to make damn sure it's about us, not me. And when you start challenging your fan base, you better win. Well, you know what happened. Dabo Swinney's making $11.5 million a year. 17-point home favorite against the Qs. 34-21. No, they didn't almost cover. They got beat by the Qs. And their quarterback stinks. And they look listless. They look lifeless. So now, listen to Swinney post-game.
You talked about the pain in the locker room. ESPN kind of caught you at the end during the alma mater, being emotional, I guess. What was going through your mind to the end of the game?
Just, I mean, disappointed. Painful. I mean, hurt. I mean, I'm human. I mean, I'm not a cyborg. I mean, this is my life, man. I mean, I've been here 23 years. I love this place. I give this place the very best I got every single day. Every day. There's never been a day that I haven't given Clemson every ounce of everything I had. So I hurt. I mean, I've invested my life here. And when I don't get the job done, I'm responsible. And I feel the pain. You know, it's not just my pain. I feel everybody's pain. And, you know, but that comes with my job. And I don't run from that at all. I mean, I've been in these situations many times. I've had a lot of great days, and this is a very, very low day. But I also know that we'll get through it. And there'll be a lot more great days, you know. Nobody wants to hear that in this moment, but that's what drives me is you know, being able to look back at different moments in my life and my career, certainly, and, you know, you got through it. You got better. You know, there's a lot of great days. So I just hurt. I mean, I hurt. I mean, I hurt, obviously, just because I take pride in what I do. But I hurt for our team, hurt for our fans, and I certainly feel that.
We'll be right back. I'm tired of his bullshit. You know him, you love him. He's the most handsome man in the history of broadcasting. He is Jonathan Hutton of Hot Mic, which comes on right after our show. He is live and in studio. Jay Hutt, what did you think of the overall management, game management, coaching of the Titans against the Colts yesterday? It seemed a little off.
I thought it was mismanaged, not management.
Yeah.
You know, it's incompetence is what it is, Dan. I mean, it's not the first time we've seen something like this. It's the second time in 3 weeks that he's had something go awry with play calling or trying to get a play call in. Or just decision-making as a head coach or offensive coordinator or, you know, special teams coordinator in that matter yesterday. It's the second time in 3 weeks it's happened right before half. And, I mean, look, he's already coaching for an owner that has a very, very thin margin for when it comes to patience. And he's already coaching a team that has a ton of penalties. And Callahan has stressed that all offseason. He doesn't have a ton of depth on his roster. He doesn't have the most talent on the starting 11 on either side of the football. But, you know, even the things that he can control, he's not doing well. So, yeah, he's not for long when it comes to the head coach of the Tennessee Titans, and I think he knows it.
What did you think about the Colts?
I think the Colts are good. Yeah, I think the Colts are legit. Look, here's why. Compare them to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars should be 3-0 as well. And they have a game where, for whatever reason, they end up losing a game they should win. They took care of Houston yesterday. And the difference between the two, Dan, is the Colts, I think they're sound up front on both lines. They are very, very good when it comes to gaining positive yardage. They're very seldom losing yardage on any play. They have a top-tier running back. They have a physical wide receiving core, and they win the line of scrimmage. And on top of that, they've got Danny Dimes, not Daniel Jones. They got Danny Dimes who's spitting it, and he's in a system that fits him very well. Again, they do the things right, and they don't turn the football over. So compare that to Jacksonville. Jacksonville, I think they're good, not great, because they run it well, but the receivers drop way too many passes. Trevor Lawrence is not nearly as consistent as Daniel Jones is right now. And because of that, give me Indy and a surprise that Houston's sitting there at 0-3.
Man, people fell in love with C.J. Stroud. People are falling out of love with C.J. Stroud now. How about that?
Well, I think it's a great example of a rookie who starts to really get things going, and they change coordinators, or they have offensive line problems, or they have an off season where the defenses and the coordinators tend to, rein in the rookie a little bit, right? Like you get a self-evaluation, plus you evaluate some of the quarterbacks across the league, and you figure things out. And on top of that, they changed his coordinator, and now he's on another one as well. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't think it's easy to come in and just to automatically learn a system, be all in your first off season, and then in your first true off season, going into year number 2, you're changing coordinators, you're learning new terminology. That's not easy to do, and about half the quarterbacks end up doing it. C.J. Stroud's one of them.
All right, across the board in the NFL, you mentioned the Jags. I said this earlier. I thought the Jags are going to be the number one contender to the Colts, assuming the Colts are real. Let's go AFC first. Anything pop out to you? What's going on in the AFC?
Well, just what's going on up in the AFC East. Look, it's Buffalo, right? But I'm surprised that we're looking at a Patriots team that seems to be pretty good. But not great. They play like their coach. I think we all knew that, but I thought it would take more time to actually realize that. I thought we'd be sitting here in Week 7 in Nashville with Vrabel coming to town to face the Titans with a chance to really make the turn towards what I just described. And instead, I think Vrabel comes into Nashville with the execution warrant. The beheading will take place of Brian Callahan. That's the opposite. The other side of it that I was expecting. I thought Vrabel would use this as a launching point. I think Vrabel uses this as where he plants his flag come Week 7. That's how strong they've been, I think, compared to where I thought they'd be.
You know what I'm looking at? I'm looking at, and I'm wondering, other than Buffalo, who's really good? Like, I thought the AFC was going to be really good, but other than Buffalo, like
Baltimore,
I don't know if I believe in the Chiefs. Baltimore, I don't know. I mean, without the Chiefs, I thought the Chiefs looked bad yesterday.
Well, they are.
I know the Giants.
Yeah,
they are bad, right?
Yeah, I think they're a notch above mediocre. And in this league, that's enough to get you in the playoffs. I mean, that's what Pittsburgh's been the last few years. I think that's Kansas City this year. That's how I would describe Pittsburgh. They're the 7th seed last year. They didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. They looked like shit when they played Baltimore. They didn't compete in that game in the playoffs. That's Kansas City. Kansas City's going to go on the road this year. We're going to see them on the road in the playoffs. And the question is, we're going to see them at Baltimore, or they're going to be at Buffalo. And we know where Baltimore will be if that's the case. They'll be in Buffalo. And they're built, though, Dan. Baltimore is built for the playoffs. So are the Bills. And then who's next? Is it the Chargers? Is it Indy? Is it Indy? Indianapolis is built for the postseason as long as Daniel Jones does not turn the football over. Right now, they punted for the first time. You know this. They punted for the first time all season yesterday. So congrats to the Titans for forcing one punt. But the point is, that's winning football. That travels. And they do. those teams do things in a structured way that is consistent week in and week out. And you can just you know it when you see it. I would go with those three, and then we'll see if the Chargers are for real. And beyond that, it's a bunch of teams that are just average, and that's not going to cut it whenever it comes January. Right now, Kansas City can go on the road and win against New York. And I know we're counting out Mahomes again, all this stuff. The fall's going to happen. It's going to happen fast. And I think we're seeing that. We didn't just see it with Travis Kelce's career, like his production. We're seeing that, I think, with the Chiefs. Because they have a roster that's depleted. They've lost their top receivers. They sometimes run the football, sometimes don't. They don't have good tackle play. They haven't been getting a pass rush. That doesn't add up to a very good team, even though you have the GOAT as your quarterback.
Yeah, and I look on the other side. The Eagles are very good.
Yes,
I think.
Yes.
Packers. I thought the Packers looked pretty good the other night. Then they can't go ahead and win. And the Vikings all of a sudden have Carson Wentz, and they do their thing with turnovers and.
Yep.
I don't know. Are the Commanders any? I think there's a lot of ifs on the other side of the NFC. Are the Commanders that good? They were yesterday.
Yep, the Commanders. The Commanders are good. I don't think they're Philadelphia good.
Are the Seahawks good? The
Seahawks have a very, very underrated defense, and very underrated. They went. They traveled to the East Coast and win at Pittsburgh. There are games that you point to and you say, okay, this is where we see if Seattle's doing something. That's something early in the year. That's not an easy trip for them to make. They're the most traveled team every year anyway, based on their location. Dan, I'll tell you this: Washington, yes. I do not put it past the Eagles to run it back. The Eagles are stacked.
I don't either.
They are stacked. They were 2-0. They were the first team to start 2-0. And for an offense not to have a touchdown pass, a passing touchdown. So, I just look at them and say, even when they don't play well, they're winning games. They don't. The last 2 years, they have they've had internal strife. If they don't, I don't think they're happy. They're not happy unless they're unhappy internally. That's just kind of the competitive nature of who they are. A.J. Brown's not getting the football. He's pissed off. Then he goes off yesterday for a big chunk of yardage. So, that's the makeup of a good football team, not a bad one.
Who's your MVP right now?
Right now, probably Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I know. That's what I've said. He's just been that good.
Well, right. So this is where it gets. He's going to win Comeback Player of the Year if we had the vote right now. They're not having him MVP.
Yeah,
but he is. He's.
No, I know.
I know. Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
He is right now, though.
Yeah. So it's been a great turnaround for a guy. I came on your show. This is like the Monday or Tuesday after he signed, and I said that is what they have just announced is this is a legitimate competition. They had Mason Rudolph here in Nashville last year for Will Levis. That was not a competition. They didn't name they didn't name Cam Ward the starter for a while, but there was no competition here. Daniel Jones coming in was a shot to Anthony Richardson to say, okay, if you're not going to do it now, GTFO. And that's it, as a competitor, what's real and what's not. That was real, and Daniel Jones took the side on the dotted line because he knew he could win the job, not just win it, but he's playing well, and he's got plenty of pieces around him to where they can win. Look, his best year was when Saquon Barkley was leading that offense. And they have that run game in place. They have an offensive line that is sound. And again, up front on defense, they win because of their tackles. They have great interior tackle play. Look who's getting paid in the league. Those positions are too. Those spots are too. They've got those dudes. If they stay healthy, Dan, Daniel Jones is going to be this year's Sam Darnold.
Are you buying that I'm telling the world that Indiana is the epicenter of all things football? Indiana with a romp, the Colts with the MVP, and winning the South. We are the epicenter. Don't at me. Don't give me that face.
Hey,
don't give me that face. You gave me a face.
What face? What face? I know I'm laughing because you're also.
Know. It was a face.
It's also the epicenter of flying dildos in the WNBA too, right?
Yeah, it is. That's right.
No,
and by the way, the Fever won again.
Yeah, I was going to say they don't fly there. They actually, you guys get the blame for it, even though you're not responsible for it. Indiana Fever fans get blamed. Yeah. Hey, it's been a while. It's been what? Since 2009? Since 2009, since the Colts were 3-0?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Indiana, Cignetti just broke the all-time longest home win streak in the history of Indiana football. It was 11. He just won his 12th in 12 tries. We know we're pathetic. But we're not anymore, so we got to talk.
No, you're not close to being pathetic. Chad and I are witnessing that here with the Titans. It's really bad.
It is really bad. I had a lot of friends said there's a ton of empty seats there. I don't know if it stayed that way throughout the whole game, but that's what they said.
There should be. This place is going to be a ghost town when they return back home. Unless you like to see like the horror show that's going to be the Titans against the Patriots. So they have 3 games now on the road. They could return home 0-6 with Vrabel coming to town. And Vrabel will claim prima nocta on that entire roster. He will not hold back. Vrabel wants a 70-20 show, like we saw with the Dolphins and Broncos a couple years ago. That's what he's looking for. He won't be. He doesn't play like kiss the ring and I'll show mercy. There is no mercy. You kiss the ring and then he kills you. So I'll be there just to watch the show. Because Vrabel should still be the head coach here.
I always say to fans, be careful what you wish for, man. What you got on the show coming up here in 15 minutes? What's going on?
Well, speaking of Brian Callahan, I simply will put the ball in the tee for Chad, and Withrow is going to knock it out of the park on why we're watching maybe the worst head coach ever. And then... It is incompetence, man. It is incompetence. And then we also have Clark Lee, who is not the worst head coach ever. In fact, he's on pace. I mean, he's the best head coach right now that Vanderbilt's seen in a while. And unlike James Franklin, he's not looking to bounce. So I'm eager to talk to him about not just being a top 25 team, but where they're headed with they beat Georgia State. Everyone's like, oh, big deal. They lost to Georgia State a year ago. Who knows what happens if they win that game?
That's right.
And where they end up, based on bowl games. And it doesn't, point being, they have more than 7 wins if they win that game. And they, maybe they don't slip up in certain others. They're not doing that this year. And they're going to be 5-0 whenever they face Bama. And if they win that game, Diego Pavia is going to be starting to get mentions for the Heisman Trophy because everyone else will have finally seen him play.
Yeah. Appreciate you, man. Have a great show.
Yeah,
there he goes. The great Jonathan Withrow. You see him, you know him, you love him. Hot Mike. Coming up next, we got to run. We got to hard out. We got to go. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.